What does Elohim require? What does God require of you and I? How does he want us to worship him? How does the God, the Elohim of Israel, want you and I to walk in his presence? If you go with me to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verse 12 and 13, if you will. And now, Israel, what doeth Yah thy Elohim require of thee? But to fear Yah thy Elohim, to walk in all of his ways, to love him, and to serve Yah thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, which is your mind, your will, and your emotions. To keep the commandments of Yah and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. The Father desires for you and I, for those of us who desire to be in covenant with him, there's one common denominator that he requires of you and I. That is obedience, complete obedience, to follow his instructions which are written within the written Torah. When we begin to walk in obedience, there is a positive outcome. There's a positive outcome for us. The results of walking in obedience, the results of following the instructions that Yah thy Elohim has prescribed to us within the Torah, is found in Psalms chapter 18, verses 19 through 23. Listen to what King David said. He delivered me because he delighted in me. He delivered me because he delighted in me. What can you and I do that will cause the Father, the Elohim of Israel, to delight in us? That should be the end goal for each one of us, is to have the Father to delight in us, to take pleasure in us. Listen, Yahuwah my Elohim rewarded me according to my righteousness. See, the only way that our righteousness can become acceptable to the Father is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 25. And it shall be our righteousness if we obey the commandments before Yah our Elohim as he has commanded us. You want your righteousness to be accepted by God? Do you want to be in a right standing with the Father? You are going to have to follow his instructions. You're going to have to do it his way. You're going to have to do it his way. It don't matter what your church doctrine is. Don't matter what your mama, your daddy, your grandparents did. You are going to have to search the scriptures, for in them you shall find life. And in those scriptures that you search, the Father will reveal to you how he wants you to live. Obedience. For I have kept the ways of Yah, and have not wickedly departed from my Elohim. I wish that could be my testimony, that I have never departed from the instructions. But I can't say that because I have failed many a time. But God is faithful. God is merciful. Failure is not the sin. It's when you fail to repent. I don't care how many times you fall in a day, you get up. When you realize that you have sinned, whether unintentionally or intentionally, you go before the Father and you acknowledge your transgressions, you acknowledge your iniquities, and you ask for forgiveness. And you purpose in your heart to start over, to do better. If you fail, you start over. You repent and start over. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure out his plan of salvation. Be a modern day Berean. Study the scriptures for yourself to know the truth. Be blessed. Much shalom. Baruch Hashem.